Hi, I'm Alan DeWint. Thank you for taking an interest in my project. So this contraption that you're looking at is a driving simulator which I built several years ago. Because it is a closed enclosure, I have an exhaust fan to circulate air in it when it warms up. And rather than turning it off and on as I've been doing for a long time, I decided to build this Arduino project to automatically control the fan. Now, just for the record, before I move on, this contraption does not take any space in my house at all, for the simple reason that it's also a bed, as you can see, hence the reason for the latter. So looking inside the box, you can see there is a window that can be opened for when I'm working inside of it, and also the door to access the inside of it. And here inside you can see at the top right hand corner there is the exhaust fan that I'm controlling with the Arduino. Here you can see a better view of the inside with the dashboard, and here an even better one. You can see the controller. The fan controller is to the left of the steering wheel, the LCD screen that you can see there with the two buttons. Alright, so here's the fan controller in the dashboard. It's currently off. I've got a rocker switch to the right of the steering wheel, which you cannot see, which gives it the 12 volts DC. I am providing the 12 volts from my computer's power supply. I purposefully bought a larger than necessary power supply for my PC so that I could power external components such as this. I've also got the car radio that you probably saw in the previous shot, and I'm also powering it with the 12 volts from my PC's power supply. So let me turn the power on to this fan controller, and when the board first boots up, it takes it a second to take a reading from the temperature sensor. But what I'm showing here is that the fan is currently off. The temperature right now is 26 degrees Celsius. I want the fan to turn on at 27 degrees Celsius, and I'm also showing the humidity, which I can read from the sensor that I've got, just for information. The buttons here on the left are to control or to change the temperature at which I want the fan to turn on. So if I want the fan to turn on at 28 degrees, I can push the up button, 29, 30, whatever I want, and the down button is to actually turn the temperature down, so I can turn it down. So if I set it to 27 degrees here, when the temperature rises to 27 degrees, it should turn the fan on. So let me put my hand on the sensor here, and with my body temperature it should increase to 27 degrees and turn the fan on. Let's hope so. This sensor is not the quickest. I think it takes about 230 or so milliseconds to take a reading there. So you saw it went on, so temperature is 27 degrees. Now as long as the temperature remains at 27 or above, the fan will stay on all the time. And the second that the temperature goes below the threshold, what will happen is that a countdown timer will turn on. So let me try to cool the sensor down back to normal temperature here now that I've got my hand off of it, and we should see the temperature come back down to 26 hopefully. I could also turn the threshold at 28, and that would cause the countdown to start. Okay, it's not cooling too easily here. There we go. Alright, so it went back down to 26. My countdown timer turned on and is counting down a minute. Now the reason I use this countdown timer is because we could fluctuate between the 26 and the 27 degrees while the temperature comes down, and I didn't want the fan not to come on and off and on and off like that during a short period. So I'm giving time for the temperature to settle down. Now you saw that I put my hand back on the sensor actually. Temperature went back up to 27, which is at the threshold, so you know the fan status is back on. It's not counting down anymore because it's too warm. It needs to cool the room down, or the enclosure down. So let me again try to cool that sensor down. Got a little piece of paper I'm waving in front of it to cool it down. It should come back down to 26 here in a second. Now that I've got my hand off of it, there we go. So countdown's on, and it's going to count down the minute. And then it will go off. So as I said, I'm powering with 12 volts, and I've got a little power regulator to bring the 12 volts down to 5 volts that you'll see in the parts, so that I can power the Arduino. And as you'll see in a minute, what I've got is a signal line going down to my solid state relay to control the AC fan, because the fan is a 230 volt fan, volt AC, right? So I'm controlling it with a solid state relay. So before I had a simple rocker switch in the dashboard to turn on or off the 230 volts AC, but that was causing me problems because that AC wire was coming, was running alongside my video wires and etc. down to the PC, and it caused a flicker in my video, and sometimes my USBs would go down. So there you saw the timer expired and the fan is now off. So that gave it time to settle the temperature down. But so now let's let me show you what it looks like inside. So I've got the Arduino Nano mounted on the back of the LCD screen. As you can see here, there's a piece of plexiglass that is mounted on the back of the LCD screen with some nylon spacers, and then I've got a small breadboard that came with the Arduino starter kit, part of it that I've glued on the piece of plexiglass, and then I've got all my components mounted on there, the Arduino Nano, some resistors, and also the little 12 volt DC to 5 volt DC converter that feeds the power of the 5 volts into the Arduino Nano. Alright, so let me show you what I've got in the power compartment where I put my solid state relay. So the PC is on currently, and I can access the back of it with this little door where I've installed the fans that pull out the air. And so you can see all my cables coming into the back of the PC. So down from the dashboard, got also all my AC power plugs here for my power bricks, etc. And so what I've done is I've got this little box here where I put the solid state relay. It's actually much bigger than I needed it, and you'll see that in a minute. But what I've got is and I'll unplug it right now. This is the 230 volts going into the box, and this is the fan that I've plugged in that I'm controlling inside the box. And here I've got the 5 volt DC coming in to the solid state relay board that you'll see in a second, and then I've got the signal line, so the yellow line, to actually turn on the relay and off. So this comes from the fan controller up in the dashboard. Alright, so looking at this a bit closer, again I've unplugged everything. Obviously, and when dealing with AC lines you have to be extremely careful and know what you're doing, so please do take care. But here I'm going to open the box and show you what I've got inside. Okay, so in the box there's a solid state relay board that I purchased. It has 8 different solid state relays, as you can see. So it's by far much more than I needed, since I'm only controlling one device. But I thought, what the heck, it was not so expensive. Might be nice just in case I want to control something else in the future. So here I've got my 5 volt DC powering the board, and then there's my signal line going to my first solid state relay. Here I've got my AC power coming in. I've got one of the leads going directly to the fan, and the other lead is going into the relay, as you can see up here. And it's as simple as that. I put these little wire ties here to keep anybody from pulling the wire out and putting stress on the wires inside. So that's just a little safety feature, good thing to be doing. Otherwise, I mounted the little board on a piece of clear plexiglass that you can see back here. I put some nylon spacers to give it some space, and it's just sitting there, not going anywhere. So let me close it back up. Right, well, I hope that was useful to you. Good luck with your projects, and have a great rest of the day. I've got to do some driving. Take care.